How you doing? I'm Corey, straight out of 7 Studios, and today the topic will be transitions. Now, let's break it down, alright? Transitions is pretty simple. Let's just stay with the basics. It's flowing from one scene to the next. Why is that important? Because what you want to do is you want to pull your audience into the film, and once you pull them in, you want to keep them there, alright? And you do that by creating a film that seems seamless, alright? And usually what that means is flowing from one scene to the next. That's why we got J cuts and L cuts and editing tricks. Because we want everything to flow, alright? We want everything to have a certain pacing, alright? And mind you, even within the film, the pacing may change. You might change from being smooth to fast, and like it's whatever you decide.
I forgot, you could, sometimes it is a stylistic choice to use hard cuts.
Hard cuts, facts.
Just to keep it in mind.
You want whatever you're pacing to be to support your vision. So transitions are very important just because of that. Now, let's take it to the next step. Transitions are also important because it helps you communicate information. Now, how so? I know that's what you're asking. How do a transition help communicate something within the film? Well, it's editing tricks, it's filming tricks. That's what transitions are. Let's think of a transition scene. A transition scene in terms of a flashback, right? Now, it may seem simple. You show a guy and then he think back and then there's a flashback. But where is that flashback coming from? Is it coming from his thoughts? Is it coming from another character's thoughts? Is it coming from the narrator's thoughts? Or are the flashbacks not connected to any of the characters and it's simply the director telling the audience something? Now, depending on what your goal is, it might determine how you show that flashbacks. That's why vignettes and color grading and such is so important, because it's different ways to show flashbacks, alright? Sometimes the flashbacks might really be as simple as sound, in terms of just a dialogue scene from the past. Sometimes it might be all visual. Sometimes it might be a complete scene. And what you want to do is you want to show that flashback through a smooth transition so it don't disrupt that moment. Because what usually happens is usually a flashback is there to give the audience information so that the scene that's happening currently have more weight. There's a past that they're aware of, and they want the audience to be aware of that, alright? Now, sometimes they might hold off until a certain moment and then give you that. And that changed the whole situation. I mean, it helped things move at a certain pace. And like I said, depending on what you want to communicate and when you choose to let it loose determines the pacing. Now, to add a layer to that, we also have transitions in terms of a complete scene within itself. For example, 2 actors just delivering a 3-minute scene. Within those 3 minutes, you will experience a bunch of different emotions because the dialogue is taking them from one place to the next. And usually displaying the multiple emotions is really transitions, because we can only deliver one emotion at a time. So, when I say that, what I mean is this is a visual medium, right? This isn't a novel. In a novel, it's really easy, it's easier to communicate complex emotions. You can have somebody being happy and sad at the same time, because what you're doing is you're explaining their thoughts in their mind and their feelings. But in film, you can't really give these descriptions. What you gotta do is you gotta show it. And you can only show one emotion at a time, which is why transitions are so important. We gotta show one character being happy, then sad, then sarcastic, and then back to his normal self. Like, showing all those things, it helps tell the story, because in what order they display those emotions and how they deliver those lines help deliver certain information to the audience and overall impact the overall story. But bringing us back to the point, transition is important because it delivers so much information. And transition is really just in terms of delivering the lines, and also can extend to connecting the scenes, because that's really what it is, man. It's connecting everything so everything seems like one seamless movie. Because in movie making, what we do is we break things up, alright? Sound is separate from filming. Film is different from editing. Everything is always a bunch of separate departments. As a director, your job is just to connect everything, alright? You're the dude who's connecting all the dots. And that's really what transitioning is, alright? It's how do I deliver this illusion? How do I deliver this emotion? How do I communicate my point, the morals, the themes, my story to the audience without taking them out of it, alright? How do I deliver all these things without it looking staged? And you shoot your scene, remember that a scene is just a scene, but what is the final output, alright? What is the final product? Because once you finish with this scene, how do this scene connect to the next scene? And if you don't know how this scene is going to connect to the next scene, then when you get to editing, you're going to have a lot of things to figure out. And sometimes you want to know beforehand so that you can catch that footage, alright? Do not underestimate transitions, alright? Because transition, like everything else, is money. So that's all I got for you today. I'm Corey. We out here. And